So this weight, unlike the last time, is much less. You see, I'm thinking of you lot. Also, Super Saiyan vs Piccolo Jr. This is gonna be fun. Hey folks, MasakoX here. It had been a hot second since Part 2 and Part 3's 18-month gap occurred, but this time around we are going for something which is far shorter, maybe like a month or something, and now something which has been given a whole new lease of life that I really didn't think possible before the likes of Devon showed up during our What If Roundtable livestreams, providing some kind of an idea to push ourselves into, giving us the notion that would work really well in this scenario that I didn't think about. Yeah, I know. I'm really surprised by how this could really work. Let's just say that multiverse theory is a female dog, right? It could easily go wrong, and when you throw Dragon Ball's notorious reputation when it comes to the art of time travel, you then get some potential hijinks coming about which fits the bill quite nicely, thank you very much. Future Trunks got lucky with his first foray into the past in the original story, and got to chop up Mecha Frieza into the contents of a meat pie. But what if that didn't work out for him? What if Trunks met Bulma from even further in the past, when she was younger than him? Oh boy, I can already tell where your minds are going. Now, before all you think that this is just some excuse for some lemon content, then think again. Remember, Future Trunks is the embodiment of lawful good in Dragon Ball. He is too much like a straight arrow. He would never resort to that or be tempted. Have you not seen that scene in DBZA? He would be internally screaming at himself for the rest of his life if he did. Nope. Instead, he got roped into an adventure which actually turned out to be rather refreshing for him, because remember, the future in his world is no fun. The adventure was uncomplicated, and he could easily help them without breaking a sweat. No sort of peril, no stakes, it was absolutely fine. Nor did he have to give away the fact that he was millions of times stronger than Goku at this point in the story, and potentially demoralizing him. In the last part, Devon's musings gave me the idea to have Trunks go forward in time like we would normally expect. But it was not only not far enough into the future, it was also in this same multiversal dimension. Instead of just landing at the 23rd World Martial Arts in his own timeline, or better yet, back in his present day so he can actually get back to work and try again, he'd only jump forward 6 years or so, and into the clutches of the very irate Bulma who he had abandoned not that long ago, well, seconds for him, after having such a great time together, and she had a major crush on him, let's not forget. In any case, Trunks was convinced by Goku, adult Goku, who in this timeline idolizes Trunks for his power and skill, to actually stay around and take part in the tournament. But wait, Masako, why would he be so reckless? Well, he's got a theory developing. Remember, he's the son of Bulma, he's quite smart. Both he and future Bulma were not really sure how time travel worked, but assumed the basics from all of this, and it did technically work, but they got inspiration from those science fiction comics that the boy loved to read as a kid. They ascertained, or more like guessed, that if you made a change to something that was really big, or even really small, you would change something, or more accurately, your memories would change. And also another thing, if Trunks' future had been changed for the better, or whatever, the need for a time machine would no longer exist. And even he might no longer exist, or at least not as he knew himself. Everything would change, but it's just then odd. There would also be another factor. He would cease to be here, in the past, but he was still here, and in full possession of his original memories. He clearly hadn't changed his timeline at all, but he had obviously changed this timeline. For the better, he hoped, and hoped it would carry on that way. Regardless, the sight of Trunks' hair going golden is enough to shake the core of every member of the Dragon team present, as well as the energy output. Despite Trunks holding back, mostly, Trunks' power was just words couldn't describe it in Goku's eyes. Bulma, however, cannot sense energy and is confused why everybody is so scared. But what she could see is her former crush, all bulked up, glowing with an unearthly aura, ethereal almost, with blonde hair. "Hello, Blondie," she slurred with lust, to which Yamcha is fortunately too distracted to notice because, well, the same reason as Goku and everyone else in the Dragon team and the Turtle School. How could you have held back so much power? It's not possible! I've been through a lot. I gather that you plan to enact the same feelings on my friends over there. I'm gonna see to it that you don't do that. Trunks is holding back most of his Super Saiyan power, like I said, because if he didn't, Piccolo would have been completely eviscerated in a second. However, he did rush forward faster than blinking still and land a gut punch to Piccolo, which catches him completely off guard. Nobody saw it either, but they tasted it. The green man is coughing and spluttering with pain and horror from just one blow. What was that? That was a warning. The Piccolo I heard about was a much more noble warrior than you are. From what my master told me, you were an incredibly smart and sage teacher, as well as a true protector of this world. Like I would believe that. Time travel? That's just make-believe. Fit for children's fairy tales. Even if you aren't as strong, that doesn't mean I can do nothing. Even if you aren't as strong, that doesn't mean I can do nothing about it. What? Piccolo then fires a mouth blast into the direction of the Dragon Team. If he can't hurt Trunks, he could hurt everyone else, especially Goku. Trunks doesn't react to any of this, but calmly glides into the path of the blast and, just takes it. The explosion upon impact is enough to blow a huge chunk of the arena out of existence, and when the dust clears, Trunks re-emerged with barely a scratch on him or his clothes. Piccolo is now starting to panic. What the? This is not make-believe, Piccolo. I'm telling you the truth. He flies forward and lands a flurry of blows on Piccolo's frame, and this causes the Namekian to collapse to the floor, almost unconscious. And the truth hurts. The announcer is left flummoxed at the events before him, but he still declares Trunks to be the winner after he can muster words to come out of his mouth. The young man is now actually taken out of this scenario, out of his daze of power, and powers back to his base form, the golden hair disappearing, realizing that he'd only just gone and won the tournament, and quite possibly saved a lot of people from getting hurt. Goku rushes forward and embraces his idol and congratulates him for winning over such a very mean guy. Don't be so quick to act, Goku. You know how I'm not from this time. Piccolo's still got an important role for you going forward. You've gotta let him go.
Of course I will. I wanted to fight him myself. I could tell that his power was equal to mine in many ways. I may not have gotten to spar with him today, but tomorrow, that's a whole other matter.
Okay, good. Trunks can tell that his actions hadn't deterred Goku's reasoning for letting Namekian go. That was still intact. When Piccolo then comes to, thanks to a handy senzu from Goku, he then shoots everyone a nasty look. I know I'm stronger than all of you around. Once your little guardian angel is left for his own time, I will return. When the odds are much more in my favor. He turns to Trunks. If you think I'll change my ways just because of what you told me, you're sorely mistaken. There is no way what you say will happen. I will make sure of it. Without another word, he flies away, not to be seen for years. Trunks has confidence that he will toe the line when the time comes for him to do so, him not having to be here to babysit the others. I'm afraid this is where we must part company, Goku. For real this time. I have to get back to my timeline and report back to my mom. It's been a blast, though.
Wait, you can't go now. You gotta teach me how to do that, Trunks. I want that power so badly. It was awesome. Can the others learn it too?
Krillin wants to learn it as well. Yeah, I may not have hair to go gold like you did and stuff, but the power boost seems rather neat. Trunks laughs nervously. There's more to this power than just to look cool, guys. Bulma then interjects, lowering the tone a little from all of this praise, bringing Trunks right back down to earth.
Okay, mister, I've seen a lot of weird things in my time, but this takes the cake.
She jams a finger in Trunks' chest.
Fess up! Where do you come from, really?
Goku then tries to warn Bulma that asking this question could be really dangerous. It could blow up the very fabric of space-time.
What?
It's alright, Goku. I think it's time I explain myself. Bulma, you're right. I'm not from around here. I'm from a different dimension of reality, you guys. Time to be specific. Bulma, instead of dismissing this like Piccolo, is a lady of science. She wants to know more. Now, after hearing the initial premise of how Trunks got here to the past, without of course the fact that she was his mother from another time, I mean that was just too embarrassing to reveal right now, the engineer is very curious to hear and see the fruits of the future's labour in regards to this venture.
You've got my attention. Let's talk about it over in my place, away from the crowd. Tomorrow, be there. She prods him in the chest again, and then gives him a very sultry look, which Yamcha does notice. Do you mind if I come too? I want to learn about this too. You know, science, time, wibbly-wobbly stuff. Since when did you care about that stuff? You always fall asleep whenever I explain it.
I'm not asleep. I'm just deep in thought. No, totally not. The two of them then walk off bickering amongst themselves, and Trunks is left wondering whether it might have actually been the right idea to tell her about the fact that she was his mother. It would certainly make things less awkward.
Wow, time travel. So cool. Mind if we could train a little bit, Trunks? I want to learn more myself.
Goku, you got someone to marry, remember? He points over to Chi-Chi in the distance, which reminds Goku.
Oh yeah, I forgot about that. Thanks, buddy.
The next day, Trunks arrives at Capsule Corp like he promised to, and is greeted by Bulma. He doesn't like what he sees. She is wearing rather too short shorts for being an engineer, and a tank top which again was a little on the small side. He frantically averts his gaze, wishing that the engineer's overalls that were wrapped around her waist were actually being used for their intended purpose. Jeez, Mom. Trunks then spends the rest of the trip to the laboratory conjuring up excuses to look anywhere other than at Bulma. Like, hey, you have really, cool wall-mounted fan ducts. Yeah.
I guess? Is this the future's idea of breaking the ice? I don't get it. I feel old already.
When they get to the laboratory, Trunks is more than happy to talk to Yamcha before presenting the capsule containing the time machine. When it emerges from its housing with the trademark "Boy," Bulma is completely taken out of her mission to tempt Trunks and is bowled over with the sight of the Capsule Corp logo all over this feat of technological brilliance.
To think that this was possible and we did it! Can I go inside?
Sure?
Can you give me a lift up? I promise I'm not heavy and all.
Trunks is stammering a response before Yamcha presents a ladder that had been on the wall. Here, this will do just fine, honey.
Fine.
She stomps up the ladder, with Trunks flying up the opposite side to meet her at the canopy, which then hisses open. After about 10 minutes or so, Bulma gets the basics of the craft down, and then stumbles upon the logbook, which makes her day. Her future self had tucked away that for Trunks to refer to in case of any troubles. Basically, it's the time machine's manual.
Hey, wait, this is my writing. Does this mean that I'm still around in the future despite all the chaos that you said?
Yeah, you managed to create the time machine to go back into the past and right the wrongs committed. Yamcha then butts in, asking if telling them this will actually create a time paradox. I thought the same thing, but apparently that doesn't seem to be the case. If that were true, I'd have disappeared as soon as I interfered with you guys. It seems like multiverse theory is the case in this reality. I've changed this timeline, but my own? Still the same. Nothing's changed, sadly. Bulma hadn't really been paying attention, still reading the manual with the utmost enthusiasm.
Wow, I'm still just as smart in my old age.
Trunks is equally not paying attention to what he says. Yeah, Mom's a real whiz at that stuff. Trunks then realizes what he said.
Wait, Mom? This is my writing. Does this mean that you're...
She points at herself and then at Trunks. She then screams, externally. After she had gotten over the shock and put her overalls firmly on, having experienced utter embarrassment for all of the years of crushing on her son, she then regains her scientific composure. I'm sorry, I didn't know how time worked back then. I was worried if I told you I might not have been born or something.
Well, who's the father? Come on, tell me.
I don't know. You never told me.
Is that another lie or something?
Yamcha then butts in. Hey, come on, Bulma, cut him some slack. It might be me. Trunks here just doesn't want to cause any further trouble or something. Do you, sonny boy? Oh, Yamcha, you couldn't be any more wrong. When he had been able to divert the subject away from the origins of his parents' identity, Bulma then realizes that the craft has a little bit of a problem with it.
The tank's out of juice.
Trunks flies back and reads the gauge. Yep, it's empty. What? How? I had enough fuel to get... Oh. He realized that the ship only had enough fuel for 2 trips, one round one, and since he had made one jump back and then one slightly forward, yeah, he spent the tank. He was stuck here. But how can Mom protect herself? I'm not there to help. They're helpless. Those monsters will kill them. It's all my fault. I failed. Trunks then slams the desk he was sat by and starts to cry, having felt like a total failure. Bulma then spots the book that her future self had written and tosses it into Trunks' lap.
Don't give up hope yet, kiddo.
Her attitude towards him had changed completely. Instead of being the girl who crushed on him, flirting with him, her demeanor had become more like the competent and always resourceful maternal figure. She actually really surprised herself with this. Was this inside of her all along?
Your mom's still here with you, in this book. All her notes are in here, and we can try and make up some gas perhaps for you to return home. It may not be easy, but it can't hurt to give it a go. I'm not gonna back down from a challenge like this.
Trunks looked stunned at Bulma, but it made sense. Despite the age gap between this Bulma and his Bulma, it was still the same person, the same brilliant intellect. All right, Mom, let's do it. They fist bump in solidarity, Yamcha looking very relieved with the fact that Trunks was no longer a threat to his relationship. Well, I mean, I guess, Yamcha, you're half right. With this information being passed from the tome, Bulma begins to realize the gravity of this task. A lot of the resources in this book are actually really hard to come by, even in the most prosperous time of today. Either the materials were rare, expensive, both, or just flat out didn't exist yet.
We're gonna have to answer a lot of weird questions from the board, but I think it's possible. It'll just take a while.
How long do you reckon?
Months, huh?
Yeah, that seems about right. Mom did say that it would usually take 8 months or so to refuel the machine.
At best, kid. We could be looking at years since some of these ingredients are not available through, legitimate means.
Oh.
You better get yourself comfortable here, kid. I mean, I can prepare some living quarters for you if you want to crash here. And tell you what, free of charge. Not only are you family after all, I think, but this book and your brain have probably cemented this company's place in history.
She gives him a hug, but this hug was different from the previous ones. Much less awkward, thank Hippel for that. As time wore on, Trunks felt that it was only right to occupy his time with something. And since he didn't have to worry about work or making money with board at Capture Corp for free, nor did he actually have to worry about paradoxes, at least not right now, Cronoa wants to know your location, he could then perhaps train up Goku and the others. After all, Goku had been pestering him for ages despite the fact that his now wife was pregnant with what would then become Gohan. It meant that the guy was more present with the Dragon Team, Goku, and so therefore people would know that he was about to have a kid instead of it being a surprise like in the original. As for Super Saiyan, well, baby steps. That would take time. For starters, with Trunks not really worrying too much about breaking the laws of time, you'll regret that soon enough, he divulged the revelation to Goku that he was a Saiyan from another world, and that he himself was sired by a Saiyan.
Does that mean that my kid could get this power too?
Well, it's possible, yeah.
Will they become as evil as those Saiyans you mentioned, though?
Not at all, Goku. You're a good person. I'm sure that he won't. Does Trunks tell him about the androids? Not quite yet. First, there needs to be a more realistic yardstick, a closer one. Raditz. Trunks did sometimes think, though, when he was in his bed, that maybe he should probably lay off spilling the beans about the future. You know, he was lucky that nothing had changed, but was there a certain threshold to be had before then everything would go to pot? He was doing everything that his mother had told him not to do, but somehow this didn't matter to him. He felt good about this and confident that none of this will affect his future or come back to bite him whatsoever. And that's where we're going to be leaving things for right now. So what do you folks think? Will Trunks actually stay and help against Raditz, or will he bounce as soon as he has enough fuel to go home? Leave a comment below and let's get this discussion going. And I shall see you in the next video. Catch you later!